If you're a fan of Doctor Who, you probably have been on tenterhooks for weeks now, but we do know who will be playing the next incarnation of the Time Lord.
These are the faces that have helped make the show a family favourite for generations. Last night we found out who will be the 12th Doctor to battle the Daleks and Cybermen on screen. Picking up the sonic screwdriver will be Peter Capaldi, best known for playing the man who swears a lot, Malcolm Tucker, in the thick of it.
I don't think he'll be doing that
He
anymore.
won't be doing it on Doctor Who, I'm sure. No.
Matt Smith has, of course, played the Doctor for 4 years, so will Peter Capaldi be able to fill those shoes? With us to discuss this is Cavan Scott, who's co-author of the Whoology. Morning. And Sophie Aldred, I'm sure you recognise her, who played the Doctor's assistant from 1987. We shouldn't really put a date on it, but 1989. Morning, both.
Quite recently.
Quite recently.
Thank you both. I think we're going to look... Are we going to look at a clip first, though? We're going to look at a clip of Peter Capaldi's first appearance when the current Doctor regenerates on Christmas Day. This is a clip. He has been in it before.
It's so wonderful not to keep this secret any longer, but it has been absolutely fantastic in its own way. So many wonderful things have happened. For instance, for a while I couldn't tell my daughter, who would be looking on the internet and discovering that people were saying so-and-so should be Doctor Who and so-and-so should be Doctor Who, and she was getting rather upset that they never mentioned me. And I said, just rise above it, darling, rise above it, as I do.
Morning, both. Thank you very much. Did you both guess already that it was going to be Peter? Did you?
I didn't really know, but I hoped, because somebody of his stature and his sort of charisma and his standing is perfect, and a bit older as well, you know, which is a good contrast to Matt Smith. So all in all, it's just the perfect choice.
Good choice.
An excellent choice. I mean, let's face it, we've got one of Britain's best actors playing Britain's best role. You know, and this is what makes Doctor Who exciting. You miss the old Doctor, you mourn the old Doctor going, but the excitement's coming because there's a new Doctor now. We want to see what he's going to do differently, and what he's going to be, how he's going to be the same as well.
We had a lot of people responding to it, of course, and most of them say, great, exactly like you do, a great actor and so on. But Amanda said, looks like a Doctor circa 1960s, 70s. I fear he'll be too old to appeal to younger viewers and suspect the BBC may see a drop in viewing figures. Can't have that, no matter how well he plays the part.
Well, I think the thing about having an older Doctor is you've still got your gorgeous Jenna Louise Coleman, and the role of the assistant has always been sort of to be with the audience, so that she will bring the audience along, and it's going to be great. You wait.
It's the sort of role, isn't it, that I guess kind of never leaves you. It's like being in Bond, isn't it, presumably?
Job for life.
Here you are, still talking about it, and still loving it.
Oh, I mean, it really was the most amazing thing to be cast in Doctor Who at a young age. And it's still with me, you know, on audio, on these Big Finish audios I do, I'm still playing a 16-year-old.
I see, don't mind. But when you see Doctor Who now, do you think to yourself, I'm not so sure about that, or a bit curmudgeonly about it, or you just, do you think the story or the line is developed well over the years?
I think it's been superbly handled, and it's partly the fans that have brought it back. You know, Russell T Davies was a huge fan. So that there's always an appeal to the fans, but an appeal to a new audience as well. And now we've got Peter Capaldi, who comes on last night, fingering his lapel, which is what William Hartnell did. So
really?
I think that might have been a sneaky little nod to the fans going, don't worry, it's in good hands, guys.
Fascinating that Capaldi said that he'd played being Doctor Who when he was 9 years old in the playground. There's a lot of children do, of course.
Yeah, we all did.
Exactly. Absolutely, yeah.
So he's been sort of practising for the part for the last years.
And I think one thing that was
years.
interesting that he said, to prepare himself for the role, he downloaded old scripts of the old Doctors and performed them to himself, again to prove that it's the same character that's been going all these years. So it's like David Tennant before him. You know, the people who are making Doctor Who now grew up with Doctor Who. It's part of their psyche, and I think we're going to see a lot of that in his performance.
It's interesting watching Matt Smith as well, because Matt Smith was obviously very pleased to hear that it was Peter, and sort of handing on the mantle as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how great must it be? It must be very sad to give up the role, you know, and move away from it. But exciting to hand over to someone who you know is that good, you know, who you know is going to look after it and do great things. And I suspect now that Matt's probably become a fan. I mean, he said at the beginning he had to do a crash course in Doctor Who. He had never really seen Doctor Who, and Patrick Troughton soon became his favourite Doctor. And I got a feeling a lot of people are now going to have a new favourite Doctor.
Sophie, there isn't a danger, though, even for the Capaldis of this world and so on, typecasting, that it's great to have been Doctor Who, but can you ever escape it afterwards?
Well, I just look at my doctor, Sylvester McCoy, who's now in The Hobbit, and I think, well, you know, it can lead you onto great things as well, to amazing opportunities. It certainly has for me and for others of us. You know, it's a door really opening, a door opening rather than closing.
And it does seem very much. I mean, Matt Smith brought so much to the role, didn't he? Of his own his own personality. So Peter could possibly do that. What kind of doctor do you think he's going to be? We're not.
This is the thing, we don't know. I would think that perhaps he might be a little bit more alien, a bit more in the Tom Baker vein. You know, you're not quite sure about him.
Because he can be scary, can't
Exactly, but at the same time, he's a brilliant comedian. I mean, he can do comedy very well. You saw him in The Lady Killers, didn't you? And
I went
he was
to
hilarious.
the West End. My friend was nearly sick because she was laughing at him so much.
Yeah.
You don't think older people are going to watch it and expect the cursing to come back? Because in the thick of it, Mr. Capaldi hardly had a line that didn't have a naughty word in.
I don't think that there is any swearing in the TARDIS, is there, really?
No. Strictly no swearing.
and it's the 50th anniversary. You were there. I shouldn't say this really, but you remember
I
the
don't
25th.
mind. Yes, I was there for the 25th anniversary. We were actually doing the show, and you couldn't even buy a Doctor Who mug at the time.
And there's so
and
much
now,
isn't there?
there's all this fantastic merchandising. It's wonderful. It's just, it's had a regeneration of its own, Doctor Who, which is marvellous.
And it does play across the world. It's not just confined to this country. I mean, if you try to describe the formula to somebody, they would find it, who had never seen it, they would find it rather
Yes, you can
difficult
go
to comprehend.
anywhere in space and time. You can have any actor playing it. You can you can do anything.
There is a technical hitch, though, isn't there? Because aren't there only meant to be 12?
Well, you know, he's only supposed to regenerate 12 times, but, you know, he's a
I
Time
think
Lord, he can
Stephen
do lots of
Moffat,
things.
who's a very, very clever man,
Yes.
can find some way of
If
getting
needs
him
be,
out of that.
there can be more.
Oh, obviously. I mean, yeah, they gave, in the old series, they offered the Master an entire new regenerative cycle. So they can, if they can do it for the Master, they can do it for the Doctor as well.
So we don't need to get too worried then.
No, I wouldn't be not worried at all.
Cavan and Sophie, thank you both very, very much.
Thank
indeed.
you.
Thank you. And you can see Peter Capaldi's first appearance when the current Doctor regenerates. It's going to be an emotional day for some, isn't it?
I think it is.
He's going to regenerate on Christmas Day.
And that's almost all we've got time for this morning. Tomorrow we'll be